Never stop, it's how we ride, coming up until we die. You catch my eye, bitch, you wanna fly. I'm so alive. Never stop, it's how we ride, coming up until we die. I don't wanna go to school, I just wanna break the rules. Boys and girls across the world, put it on our dancing shoes.
Alright, what's going on, guys? You know me, something about music. Sorry, it's late, tired, it's almost 1 in the morning. I'm making a video, making a review. Anyway, this is my review of the new Charli XCX record, Sucker. Charli XCX, now famed pop star, who has had a lot of, I think, pop punk and a lot of indie rock influence thrown in with her music. Definitely noticed that kind of influence. But I listened to Charli XCX's record back in, back with her first record back in 2013, and was a little skeptical. I was a little bit like, I was kind of the majority was like, yeah, this isn't really a talented songwriter. I don't think she's that interesting. I'm not really into her so much. And I went into Sucker thinking that was kind of the same thing. I went into Sucker, I was like, oh god, first off, the name of the album is Sucker. That's like, stop. And I just kind of was judging a book by its cover, essentially, with Charli XCX originally. And with this album, she blew my expectations completely out of the water. Completely out of the water. I was very, very impressed with this record. One of, if not the best pop records of the year. I'm going to say it right now. Anthony Fantano's review, or Anthony Fantano said that the album simply just wasn't that good. That's what he said. I couldn't disagree more. I absolutely could not disagree more. This is a great album. This is a great, just radio pop album, and this has proven to me that Charli XCX is a pop star that we need, that we need in the music industry. She has teeth. She has enough edge. She has enough she has enough sex appeal. She is perfect for the modern pop scene. This is the direction modern pop needs to be heading in, and Charli XCX is a perfect example of why. Let's just get right into it with this review. First off, I want to say right off the bat, probably my favorite song on the album, honestly, I've listened to this song more than I've listened to any other song on the album, is the opening, Sucker, that title track. So good. So good. Oh my god. That is an absolutely great just opening. It's just essentially just a big fuck you to anybody who doubted me. It was a fuck you to me. It was directly to me, because it was just, and then she's like, oh, well, you think I'm the shit now? Well, fuck you again. Like, I love that. I love that she has that punk rock attitude flowing all across this record, and I love it to death, and I think it's so good, and I think this is the kind of thing pop music needs to be seeing more of, and Sucker is just an excellent opener to this album, done so well, and probably my favorite song just in general on this record. I cannot think of a better way to start a pop album than just by going balls in first, just head on, just saying fuck you, Sucker. That's what that is. I really, really like this album. I really, really like this song. I really, really like this album a lot. Another great one was one of the singles off the album, Break the Rules. There's been a lot of controversy regarding the lyrics. Yes, lyrically, this is a really shallow song. It's a really shallow pop song and with really shallow lyrics. I'm not looking in terms of lyricism here. Obviously, it's a modern pop record. There's not going to be a whole lot of lyricism here that I'm going to be dealing with. But from an instrumental standpoint, it's very well done. Very well done. I liked it a lot. There were a couple songs where I was like a little about. You know, I was a little bit like kind of if there was a songs that I didn't like but didn't dislike section for this next one would be one of them. London Queen, it was just kind of there for me, you know. I didn't like it, I didn't dislike it, but London Queen is all right. It has a very catchy chorus, and I'm gonna get to the catchiness factor of this album in a minute. But I don't know. I wasn't really into that one so much. I also want to mention that the Rivers Cuomo influence is real on this record, and that is because Charli XCX and Rivers Cuomo collaborated on this record. Rivers Cuomo, of course, being the famed frontman for the pop rock band Weezer. I don't know how you wouldn't know them at this point. They're one of the most influential rock bands in the world. Weezer are a really big deal, especially right now. They just put out a phenomenal new album, which I want to review in the coming weeks. Anyway, he's definitely, the Rivers Cuomo, just in general, is definitely real on this album, especially in the guitar department. There's some really great pop-punk-esque kind of just guitars going on here that are it's very simple, but very consistent, very straightforward, and it feels good. I mean, it just sounds good, you know, on the record, you know, with the guitars coming in. I think it sounds really good. What was it? Another one I liked was the other single, Boom Clap. I know that song's been like unavoidable. I actually didn't hear it up until listening to this record, but I know it's been pretty much unavoidable. That wasn't featured in a movie, I believe. I don't know what movie, but I'm pretty sure it was in a movie. Another one was Doing It. I really like that track a lot as well. Those were some of the biggest tracks for me that I really, really are worth mentioning. There's some really catchy hooks on this record. A lot of great choruses, a lot of great hooks. Something that not a lot of modern pop records are actually that good at. You know, like I joke, you can like joke around like with like Taylor Swift records and say that she's got a catchy hook because she says "Shake It Off" 37,000 fucking times in the fucking 1989, but Taylor Swift can't do hooks as well as this. A lot of pop stars can't do hooks as well as Charli XCX can, and the production value is just through the roof when it comes to this album, just in general. The production value is outstanding. Great job. I know that there were a lot of different producers, actually, I think, for this album. A lot of different people helping in and joining in on this album. I think at one point Alex Turner from the Arctic Monkeys was even supposed to show up. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I heard. That could be wrong. But there's a lot of really just catchy hooks. And something that just modern pop records aren't good enough at doing. There's just a lot of pop songs just have really boring hooks, boring and unenthusiastic hooks that are just repetitive and bland. Here on Sucker, the title track to the album, the hook is just "Fuck you, sucker." She just screams that. I love that. That is balls. That is absolutely balls. That is great. There needs to be more of that in the pop music realm. There's just really not enough of that. Also, another thing is that the drum machines have a really large and powerful sound and feel really large and powerful, but they don't overstay their welcome either. It's like it's a nice balance, you know. It's a nice balance. One other thing I want to mention is that the glitchy lo-fi synths and lo-fi voice compressions are fantastic. I love that. I love that a lot. Just great. Again, just the whole lo-fi 80s thing works so well, I think, for Charli XCX because she's very Madonna inspired, you can tell. And I think it just works really well with the whole lo-fi 80s thing. Just awesome. One last thing I want to bring up too before we head into the cons real quick is that the song "Doing It" has a really cute laugh at the beginning. I think I have a little bit of a crush for Charli XCX. Not gonna lie. Just putting that out there. Anyway, we're going to move on to the very few and far between cons that feel a little bit more like nitpicks to me, but let's talk about them. There are some hilariously short songs in here, even for radio pop standards. Radio pop songs are normally around 3.5 minutes, sometimes 4 minutes. These are like 2 minutes, like there needs to be a little bit more here. But that's like nitpicking almost, because even though they're like 2 minutes long in length, they're fast, they're energetic, they're fun, and you can listen to them endlessly you can listen to one song on repeat without getting tired of it. That's something I really appreciate. Another thing is that, her vocals do feel a little bit uninspiring and unorganic at times. I think that's just generally a problem with a lot of pop stars nowadays, and I applaud Lorde for being one of the standouts from this. But that when they're brought into a production room, their pop stars generally their vocals are played with a little bit so that they don't sound as organic, and that's, I think, been kind of an issue since around 2011, 2010. Lorde has been the standout from that, but Charli XCX unfortunately has not. But that doesn't really take away, because she's not always like that. And for example, in the song "Break the Rules," that song has a really great hook where it's very energetic. I wanna break the rules, na, 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 na. Like very, very, very energetic a lot of the time. But there are times when it just feels bland and boring as hell, and you're like, ugh, God, kill me. And like I mentioned, the lyrics to a lot of these tracks are shallow and samey as hell. I wish she would expand even more as a lyricism, because the title track on this album is so fucking good. That's like the best song ever, I swear to God. Like, it's just like, fuck you, sucker. Like, that's awesome. And there needs to be more kinds of lyricism like that, and there's not enough of it. I also like the songwriting in Caught in the Middle and in Boom Clap, and in I believe it was Hanging Around, which was one of the songs Rivers Cuomo helped with. It just needs to be a little bit more emphasis on songwriting, I think, because it feels very samey, and this girl has a lot of potential, and it could go to waste fast. One thing I did notice is that the excellent distorted, pop punk-esque guitars do start to go away towards the end of this album's life. Around the last 2 or 3 tracks, it just kind of vanishes. And one thing also was that the closing track, Need Your Love, was awful. I'm sorry, that was a fucking garbage track. It was very... it's so annoying. It's just so annoying. It's so like falsetto-y, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I feel like excuse me, I'm yawning. I feel like when I'm listening to Need Your Love, I'm not listening to Charli XCX. I'm listening to Arctic Monkeys. Seriously, it sounds identical to something you'd find off of Arctic Monkeys' last 2 albums, which isn't necessarily a bad thing for Arctic Monkeys, but it's a bad thing for Charli XCX, because she's supposed to be this edgy, gritty pop star, and Arctic Monkeys are pretty not that. It's not a good closer. It's just not a good closer. Anyway, the final verdict on this album is that I thought it was a spectacular pop record with a lot of teeth and a lot of balls, and could almost pass as a pop rock record, I think, because there's enough grit here that I think it's gritty enough to be considered a pop rock record. Charli XCX has definitely earned her place as the pop star the industry needs to see. This is, if she was topping charts in a couple of years, even now she's more popular than she's ever been. But if she was topping charts in a couple of years, with single after single, writing just quality music, I'd be okay with it. This is something that a lot of pop stars, Taylor Swift, Miley Cyrus, a lot of these radio pop stars need to take notes of, because this is how you do a great pop record. This album is an 8.5, maybe even a 9 out of 10. I'm going to go with an 8.5 though, a strong 8.5 out of 10. If you've given this record a listen, what did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Why? Why not? What album should I be reviewing next? Tips to make me a better reviewer. And thank you for watching.